Good evening, listeners to TDN and especially of this week in interview. Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in Interview with your host and guide, Anthony Drago. I hope that you are having a wonderful week so far. And of course, I wish you just as strong a finish. This is Wednesday. It's the hump of the week, as they call it, hump day. So hopefully you've made it to the top and it's all downhill from here. Um, so tonight I want to say that I wish you a very special welcome. For those of you who come back every Wednesday night to listen to me and to join us and to have this discussion, I want to welcome you as I do every week and let you know that I don't take your presence for granted. I really appreciate that you make this week in interview a part of your weekly schedule. And if tonight is the first time that you're joining us on this weekend interview, welcome, a very warm welcome to you. And I hope you like what you hear so much that you too become a regular listener. Special good night to those on Nature Isle, Dominica. If you're listening to us on RVR Jams on DigiPlay Channel 59, they carry this weekend interview live, as well as SBE radio, an online radio in the Toronto market that carries this weekend interview live. We always like to say thank you to the management of those two collaborating stations for gracing us and carrying this weekend interview live. But no matter where you're listening to us from or watching me, I want you to subscribe if you haven't done so. I want you to like the channel. I want you to share it. Invite two, three, four, five people to come on. Let them know that we have a wonderful discussion on tap tonight. So, without much further ado, let me tell you what we have on for you tonight. It's very special treat. I have a wonderful guest, uh, somebody that although he's in my age group, but he was way ahead in terms of a public a social figure, and so he's somebody I looked up to who made his mark very early as a on-stage personality, a media personality, uh, and so I'm honored to have him as my guest. But life doesn't always go in straight lines, and so one of the things we're going to be tackling tonight, in addition to talking to him about his wonderful achievements, we're going to talk to him about some of the challenges, some of the battles, and the triumphs that he has, fought really hard for, and hopefully there are lessons in there for us. The month of October is the month in which World Mental Health Day is recognized. As a matter of fact, this Sunday, the 10th of October, is World Mental Health Day. I like to say Mental Health Awareness Day. As a matter of fact, I like to say mental wellness, and because what is mental health? Mental wellness. And also, it is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I believe. So we have later in the month, we have a program for you that we will tackle that, one of the more the scourges right now that's really affecting so many families right now, breast cancer. All right. So we have limited time. I only have 1 hour. So I'm going to give a very warm welcome to my guest, Mr. Franklyn P. Moses. If you are from Dominica, you know Franklyn. If you are from Antigua, you know Franklyn. If you're from almost anywhere in the Caribbean, you know Franklyn. I remember as a high schooler when Franklyn burst on the scene in the time of Michael Jackson and that musical time in the 80s where people took to the stage and danced and entertained and so on. I may have it wrong, but that's the memory I have of him listening to the stage, and he became one of the better masters of ceremony, MCs in Dominica. And then naturally, from being involved in shows and so on, he found his place in radio. He was a DJ, an announcer on the number one station in Dominica, DBS Radio, and he carried that throughout his career. Worked on every radio station in Dominica and also managed one of the premier radio stations in Antigua, Mr. Franklyn Moses. Known for his sense of humor, his ability to bring lightness and comedy to almost any setting, to make light of really um, situations that could be somber. Franklin, it's been a while we haven't seen each other in person, so it's wonderful to have you on. A very warm welcome to you. I know I just skimmed the surface of who you are, but we will go into it deeper. Because if I have to give you a full introduction, we'll be using half an hour, half of our
Mhm.
1 hour to do that. So, my brother, it's such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to this weekend interview.
It is my distinct pleasure, my colleague and compadre from maybe 4 decades now.
Yeah,
And
we all, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to carry the lumber when Noah was building the ark. I was carrying the lumber.
You're carrying the number for that.
Yes, it's been a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, but it's nice to be here, everybody. And as it was mentioned earlier on, protocols observed, and it's been a journey that I embrace the opportunity that I will have the opportunity to open shed some light on the various corridors and avenues whereby along your journey of life you find yourself facing a brick that you didn't pay for, that you didn't ask for, and that you have to learn how to navigate around life's obstacles, and especially I'm going to use a pun with intention. Things that you have to wrap your head around can sometimes make you kiki or bazudi, But yeah, when you become more self-aware of not only who you are but where you are in life. That's why in the Bible, um, God is asking Adam, "Where are you?" He didn't. I was asking that question, "Where are you?" as in geolocation. He's asking him, "Yeah, have you grown up? Have you learned the lesson? Have you?" So yeah, in life, your journey, and the interesting thing about it is that you think that everybody's living your life because of the way you're thinking, and only after I've had that experience, I realized that nobody really thinking about the way you think. That you're thinking about yourself, that you think they're thinking about you. They're just not.
Exactly, exactly, right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, to
you
become
know,
self-reliant.
yeah, it's like that song that says, "You're so vain, you think this song is about you." You
You
know,
know, when listen, there's a song we play regularly. It's called "All We Are Is Dust in the
all we
Wind."
are dust in
All
the
we
wind.
are is dust in the wind,
And like
brother.
Chubby says, "C'est passé, nous qu'à passer." It's past, we're
Yeah.
passing.
All
We're
we
all
have.
transient. But but
Very
but
true.
frankly, let me take a quick pause. I'm sure I'm going to miss most people who are on because I can only see those of that comment. But let me just say early good evening to everyone, as I said before, but also Sharon, Phil Senior, you guys are here every Wednesday, so welcome to you. I know there are some others who haven't shown up, like Didi and Sophie and all of those people. I have a special person in the audience. I asked him to come on, and he did. He came in early. Marcus, it's great to have you in the audience. So Franklin, let's spend a little bit of time. I say in a little bit because if we have to flesh into everything, it can take us forever. Tell us about your entry into the public life I'm going to say as an entertainer, but you also did news and you also did serious stuff. But most people that think of you as in the entertainment field, not just as a comedian, but as a masters of ceremony and all of those things. So let's talk what channeled you into that path.
Few people ask me that question because they just assume that you just enter into
You're
it.
born in there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the initial gift was always in there, given to me by the Most High Creator in all His wisdom and His Majesty. However, I grew up very shy, very subdued, very under the blanket. The word blanket don't, because I'm a child of the '60s, so my grandmother was my dad was born in 1928. So my entire generation lineage is they pass away. When I say they pass away, they transit at the age of 90, 91, 92, 93, 91, 91. And my aunts are past 80 and they're still alive. So, but having gotten to that, it was at the St. Mary's Academy. When I went to the St. Mary's Academy, Mr. Cuthbert Elwood, the late, great, He wrote on my report card, Franklin Moses, if he does not take himself seriously in June, he shall fail all his exams. And I end up passing all. Why? Because he says I'm a clown and a comedian in school. But Mr. Cuthbert Elwood said, you from the food in class all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Mm-hmm.
emceeing the show next week. I would say SME Calypso show. That's when Trinado won and
Mm-hmm.
Zico and Eddie Bupia got his name in my class. Eddie, he says we were talking about elements like iron and magnesium and psyllium and these things. And Eddie said, well, I'm an element. No, no, he says, my name is Edium. So Computer would say, well, Nick, you're an element. That's where he
Oh,
got
that's where that name come from.
just
Okay.
like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
And
used to sing. He used to sing junior
Calypso,
calypso.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
then
remember
my
now. Yeah.
for 5 years I sat side by side with Dr. Francis Severin. Um, so Michael Augustine and Orlin Badwood, we sat together. So, but in class, when he said that I had to MC the show, I got nervous. I shut down. I can do it in class, but not on stage. Listen, it's easy to do it with my friends and my comrades, but to go on stage with I don't know nobody. Let another guy MC the show. When I got on stage, I'm like, I'm not going to do the show, but I want to hear what it is. My first time. I
Hmm.
heard the guy saying some things. His name is Vincent Filbert. We used to call him the Bob.
Yeah, I met him in A-level college. So
Right.
we're really around the same time. Yeah.
Right. And he said a few things that were a little highfalutin for the show, you know. It was a little too dense in language. I said, what nonsense am I hearing here? I said, let me the mic a while. And I said a few jokes, not intentional. It was just part of my natural aura coming out. And I didn't even know because I'm just happy to be called my name. And I said a few jokes and people were laughing. They were growing hysterical. I'm like, are they doing that for me? Is it something I said? And I didn't know I had a natural gift for containment for comedy and laughter.
Mhm.
So just started and like did a few shows, and so that's why I ended up on stage. But that also came with a rough handle too.
Right.
That's just
So in high school basically is where you got bit by that bug because you went on stage and you got a reaction from
yeah, I
people.
was commanded to go on stage, and I
Right.
didn't want to because I could entertain in the class, but not in
Hmm.
the it's huge. And today it's like easy for me, but it was
Right. Right.
difficult.
Right.
And then I
Hmm.
went to the Youth Development Division, and that's Ophelia Marie and Corbett Pinard and Davis Layton, Eva McIntyre, and Shirley Farrow and Enya and all of these
Amoy and
people,
those people.
Amoy
Yeah.
Williams,
Hmm.
right, in Youth
Yeah.
Division.
Hmm.
So they shaped me in terms of dealing with youth and also understanding my role as a young person in Dominica. So I represented Dominica at the Commonwealth Conference in Ottawa. My first time I traveled in my life, and it gave me a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. I began to take on some more responsible work in terms of media and marketing for people, and so I started to mushroom into this, and it's consolidated myself by training Sandberg Henry being my mentor. So I work with DBS. Then I moved to Kyrie. Then I moved to Q95. And I moved to Voice of the Islands. And I work with Voice of Life. And I work with Radio Jumbo and Radio Caribbean International, Radio St. Lucia. And I became the manager of the radio station in Antigua and Barbuda after
Right.
7 years. Managing director, just like million dollar company.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I've been trained in theater under Alvin Bully. So I've traveled. But that is all part of the creative process.
Right.
But the cloak that's the inside, that's the outside of the house. That's what people know me to be, the
Hmm.
entertainer. But here's where we link to the next part of the story. After I've entertained thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, millions, who entertains me?
Right. So Franklin, I will tell you that I also am a youth division baby. That's how I call it.
I
So
know
all the
that.
names that you call Amoy and Colbert, those. So I think we interacted at youth camp
That's where we met at your
on High Street and all of
yes.
that. But I watch you develop and really hone your craft. Young, but holding your own. And then I mean, you got married, had a beautiful wife, had a family. Um, managing a major radio station, even managing to do it in a foreign country. And it seemed like you had it made, and you were living your best life. But you're asking the question now, while you entertain everybody, who's entertaining you? And
Mhm.
my answer to that, it seems like you did not need any entertainment.
Ah,
So
that is
tell us about that kind of that journey that eventually, I guess it's no secret, it devolved and really derailed um, your life for not permanently, thank God,
Yeah.
but for some time.
And I'm happy you would use the word derail because um, in life, and I think what that may be one of the, upon reflection, one of the better things to have happened to me, except I begin to really spend a lot of time with myself.
Right.
And when you begin to, and I like my company. Um, Apart from that, before that, I always maybe have relied too much on the not knowing it because I never knew the symptoms of bipolar. So in 20, when I left the job at Antigua, moved back to the States, at the time I lived there also because it's easier to move. I used to move and travel from Dominica to Jamaica, do a show, and come back the next morning, like less than 24 hours,
Hmm.
and come to shows. I've been always on the hustle, and then I go
Hmm.
home and I crash. Everybody say, Franklin will just come to do the show. They come to the show. I get to do the show.
Hmm.
But when I'm finished, because my brain and my mind, oh, I have no paper in my hand, I cram the show, I sequence the show in my mind before, while I'm bathing, when I'm getting ready for the show. I don't want to talk to nobody, I don't eat. I have my special ritual. I want all my mental faculties to be firing on all 10 cylinders. I want to be able to not be caught because it's an intricate thing. When it's your gift and you love it, so I'm thinking if this can be if this contestant, what if? So just in case she faux pas, what am I going to say? If in
Hmm.
case there are no lights, what joke am I going to give? If that one doesn't work, do I feel the energy? Is that appropriate joke to give? Are there children in the audience? How am I going to come? So it's a lot of work going on. Your synapses are flying, and people think, well, you just, oh, he's that joker fella. I mean, he ain't easy,
Hmm.
man. And then when you finish and you feel like you've given your all and people laugh and you begin to steep yourself in the laughter and the applause and the lights. And all of this adrenaline and testosterone and oxytocin and all of these chemicals are driving you to a frenzy. And then the lights, no more applause, no more lights, no more nothing. And then I would crash.
You're left to yourself.
Yeah, not just
Hmm.
I'm drained, I'm thoroughly drained. And that happened for years and decades and decades and decades. Not so many decades.
Hmm.
And I would get so depressed.
Hmm.
And I didn't know this was later on when I found out in 2008, when I came from England. I was still dressed in the same way. So people saying, people talking behind my back. And I'm, because you're in a space. I'm
Hmm.
finishing writing my book. Mentally, you're in a space where your chemical, and that's why I call it bipolar. It just moves from the north and moves down to the south. It just flows you because it comes without giving any signal or announcement. I know people who may be afraid, but I'm not ashamed to tell people, yes, I had a massive mental breakdown.
Hmm.
Not that I couldn't keep it together, it just wasn't staying together.
Right.
You can function, but you cannot function with the impact. And people are living, because I never like to live. For me, there's no box. We say, well, it's time to live outside the box. I've never lived anywhere else.
Yeah. Never a box for you.
And never box me, you know.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
so having gone through all of this, I try to self-medicate. They
Hmm.
say, why do intelligent people do the most stupid things? But a creative person's mind, and one of the things about being having that mental chemical imbalance, I mean, know many people have it. You talk to yourself, you literally hear yourself. For those who have elevated to a different stratosphere of understanding yourself, you begin to have, I don't want to use certain terms to make people get frightened, but you telepathic, you know things, you hear things,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
create these scenarios drop into your head. People wonder, how do you get that idea for a commercial? I'm the strangest because I always have a pen and a paper, and I'm always in tune to my environment. And I hear. So I'm wondering, and people hearing what I'm hearing, didn't you hear a song? And I can hear the tune for a song or two lines for a commercial. Oh, that's a good punchline. And my brain is constantly working and creating ideas and suggestions and pipelines and connectivities. And when maybe everybody doing the same thing, and some people like, but how you think of that? I mean, like, but it's just natural. That's my natural thought process. So
Right.
after a while, you begin to feel a little alienated because people say, "Oh, you think he's too smart," or oh, he likes to joke around, and that's the natural personality. And he couldn't cope with that, so I self-medicate. So I wouldn't be lying to tell you, yes, I should be a bookworm, alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, crack, okay. And
And when you say self-medicate, you feel like you needed that to soothe you, or what was it?
yeah, as a highly creative person, your body chemistry is vibrating on a different level, a different vibration than other persons.
Hmm.
Um, that's a condition, a mental condition, because it gives you a drive. That you feel euphoric. Some people get delusions of grandeur, and a lot of creative ideas. And some people in the Bible, I'm convinced they were bipolar,
Hmm.
and some were schizophrenic. I mean, Elijah just killed 450 worshippers of Baal, and a lady, Jezebel, says, I'm going to kill you. And he runs and says, God, listen, I want to kill me, but you just killed 400 men. And yo, we're going to say, kill me, million remaining. That's the illusion of grandeur. They don't tell you. The moment Franklin Moses leaves this earth, my children, my legacy carries on with my children. And after 10 years, they even forget maybe where the dad's burial ground is. My brother, life is evolving, and what you leave behind is your legacy, your
Is your
imprint
legacy.
of what you have done, both good and bad too. But when you're in a certain frame of mind, you perceive where you see people. More I read about mental conditions,
Hmm.
when we studied it, Steinbeck Henry, we did sociology. We studied how to be an observer and a participant. Because
Right.
one man's freedom fighter could be another man's terrorist. So I
Hmm.
was like, if you say to the sky is blue, I'll ask you, what is blue? I learned that from Stanley Henry. It's called the curveball question. No, no, something I don't ask those questions because then people will think, let me just. So after a while, you get frustrated because you don't feel that you're able to give out the magnitude of the output of your mental capacity. So sometimes you just
So,
man.
frankly, without tripping you, that what you just raised there is an interesting question that popped in my head. Right.
Mm,
What I'm hearing you describe it as vibrating at a different level.
mm,
What I'm hearing you describe is a stimulation in your brain that you maybe struggled to find compatibility, struggled to find uh, outlet in a restricted Caribbean society. And this is just a pure hypothetical. We won't spend too much time on it. But do you think it may have taken a different path if, let's say, you were in another community where there were more people and therefore more varied opportunities to meet similar people who are having similar experiences? Because I live in New York City, and you can find almost anything in New York City
tell me
to
about it.
to to um to match whatever it is that you're looking for. So do you think that part of something that maybe drove your mental breakdown is because you were in a society that maybe didn't have um, access on outlet for, because you said, for example, somebody say the sky is blue, you ask what is blue, but maybe you in your mind you feel like that's not a question you could ask that person because they,
Anybody.
they probably wouldn't be able to go along with you. um, so do you think that may, because I'm asking because there's a bunch of creative people in Dominica, and they may be going through the same thing where, and it's even worse now because we used to have cinemas, we used to have theater, we used to have more
Hmm.
sporting events, we used to have more participation. Nowadays carnival, you have to be in a costume to jump almost until so do you think that maybe is something that maybe drives our people um off the
So,
rails?
certainly, I think three things: spirituality, sports, and creativity.
Hmm.
No, when I was growing up, we didn't have many of these options. In that, I didn't know, and that's also a deficiency in our growing up, in our upbringing. We were not trained or taught or coached. What are your dreams? What is it that you want to pursue? Or I remember my aunt Josephine Ismail recognizing, and I'm saying that in back as a backup to answer the
Hmm. Hmm.
question.
Hmm. Yeah.
She said, I remember when I was quite growing up, maybe 6 years old, I was in Pong, Kennedy Avenue, beating drums with two wooden sticks. I think they're the baking sticks what he used to make the batter for the cake. They allowed me to pick the drums on the chair, and the neighbor yard where I was living in Pong area, it was a foul stench coming in through the yard. And I said, Auntie, this place stinks. And I was 6 years old, and she was like, for her, it was like a monumental thing. It was like a discovery of the atom molecule. Did you hear Frank? Did you hear what he said? He said the place stinks. Oh my God, Frank speaks. So I'm like, that was like the first time in my life. I'm like, did I do something right? Like, because I was always pulverized at home,
Hmm.
for all kinds of things. I was like a black sheep at home, and I was like, so Josephine is my aunt. So I'm saying it in the backdrop to what you just asked. We have lost the camaraderie that when we were growing up. Um, when you had parents, your neighbor could correct you. No, you
Hmm.
can send a sunbeam your mother, and your neighbor wouldn't worry about you. So we were brought up. We were hang sprang. We were different mental mindset. Um, but my children, I've never hit my children, um, or my grandchildren for that matter. And what's going in their little head? They haven't gotten a hard callot in their head. They haven't had their ears pulled. They have iPad. You cannot tell them go in your room because the worst thing you can tell a child is they just go in your room, and they have a phone in their hand and their iPad, but just stay in their room. You don't know what they're watching. So in nowadays we had to struggle to make it,
Hmm.
and so we had to really juxtapose our time, our entertainment. Then we had basketball, football, cricket, and so forth. So there was we could play green games. We could go to the movies without having the access to AI. And so that right now I'm scared with AI and all this advanced technology that we have now, digital solutions, that they're sucking out the creativity from our minds. So right now, what we find now is that people we're now copying trends, what we see visually. All of
Hmm.
it is visual right now. But we had to think. Now we have computers, but I just think that there's a disconnect between parents and children, especially now when you have children making children. So I see the trend not getting any better, it's getting worse because let me go back to the self medication. There's more. Recently, marijuana is been,
Marijuana is no longer a
yeah,
monster drug anymore. There are much
yeah.
more potent ones
Yeah,
available.
well, we mentioned marijuana, but the cocaine and other drugs are equally on the market.
Right, right. So Franklin, um, at what during that time, were you aware that things were not right? Were you aware
Yeah.
and so what did that feel like? Were there moments when you were lucid enough to know, I need to climb out of that,
Mm,
but not able to get to that state and sustain it?
all three of what your observations, you're on point. All three of them. Um, you don't know that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference in my studies, in my reflections upon my little taking of my notes. Most of, if not all, of the young men and women who walk the streets, who they say call them paro and crazy and mad and wicked, the wicked, and so these are the children of your brothers and sisters and neighbors and uncles and parents and cousins.
Right.
And you have to, because I have experienced what it is to be disillusioned, be abandoned, be for whatever reason, for whatever. If it happened to me, it could happen to anybody else. I'm not saying that I didn't deserve it. I'm simply saying that it's all part of my upbringing and my travels and my journeys in the labyrinth of my own existence. However, I feel for those folks on the street because I know they don't know or they're not aware of where they are.
Mm.
You don't know. Because your whole let me give you a quick look. I came from England. I spent 6 months in England from Antigua, so I'm always dressed. Everybody in England asks me if I'm a barrister. I'm dressed to the bone, not knowing that when I came back to Dominica, I'm still thinking that I'm in England. So
Wow.
I'm wearing my jacket, a long
Wow.
jacket, my 400-pound jacket, and my bags. I have one on my back, one in one hand. And in my mind, all of these books, I had 69 books. All of these books I knew from cover to cover. I
Mm.
knew every piece of content in every book. And in my mind, people don't know, you only don't know how much I read last night and didn't sleep because the bipolar will keep you up.
Mm-hmm.
You will stay up. And so didn't sleep for like 21 days. When I say didn't sleep, it didn't sleep like sound sleep, like a REM sleep, like deep
Right,
sleep I've
right,
been enjoying
right,
for the past. So when I came from England, certain folks went to Dr. Benjamin, certain people who love me, who really care about me. And I was admitted for the first time and didn't enjoy it, which the first thing they're going to say, Franklin Moses, everybody know Franklin Moses. Oh, but you utansa, yeah, 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 plus
right. That stigma that's attached to it.
that's
Yeah.
the word. So it took me
Hmm.
years to go with the stigma when you come to the realization. Like, I didn't go by Jolie and ask Jolie's pharmacy for $10 worth of bipolar. I didn't ask my dad or my mom to, for whatever reasons. It's just that how do I work with that? So I've
Right.
had a few folks like when I met, well, I can tell you the story with Matt Peltier Jr. So when I was admitted, I spent the last time I was admitted to the hospital after having been there from 2008 until 2020. I returned to Dominic in 2019 to vote, and then COVID hit. And I was
Hmm.
only then I had to renew my American visa, and that hadn't happened. And then I stayed here, and things happened. Just had bipolar hit, and I became homeless and foodless, and no food security, and dirty, and just broken, disgusted, aborted, and but I always knew God, the Most High Elohim, and His Son Yeshua HaMashiach of Nazareth. And I would have my Bible with me, and I know the sustaining, ever permitting strength. I remember reading a psalm, and it says, "Oh, light my candle, O Lord, and enlighten my darkness." I would repeat that. I think it's Psalm 86:12. I think I would repeat that over and enlighten my darkness, enlighten my darkness. And I would just he would begin a good work and we would perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. That's Philippians 1:6. And I would just repeat over and over and regurgitate and make it become part of the fabric of my mind. And I just, and don't let nobody fool you, bro. God is the ever present help in trouble. And he has just helped revolution. I'm not perfect. David, I make mistakes almost every day. But where I was, I definitely not there now. And it took a lot of people like Sharon Gregoire, Matt Peltier, certain folks that don't want me to call their names. And
Hmm.
they went out on a limb. So what I learned is that now I want to extend myself to those who in need of me because I don't judge anymore, but because I've been judged. I don't hate anymore because I've been hated. I don't try to misunderstand. I try to listen and hear. I hear, I listen, I empathize. I don't necessarily have to sympathize with you, but I can empathize. So it's a great space of renewal. I've only been out of the hospital since January 29. And while I was still at the hospital, Matt Bertie was able to help me get a job here at Q95, which I'm still at since morning, and being able to really rebuild my life with my advertising clients. But it's still a tricky place. I want anybody to think that it's just one magic pill that you take. There's a that
It's an ongoing battle.
it's an ongoing battle. I
Right.
have my own temptations, and I have to struggle. That is when I just won't talk to nobody because I'm processing stuff where I'm at, and I have to be vigilant, with myself. And but I also went to rehab in Trinidad, but this one for alcoholism. That was in 2018, and they taught us something. You had to be quick to avoid people, places, and things that would trigger you. So it's a
Right.
lot of work. It's a lot of mental gymnastics. If I don't bury myself in work, creative work, in this, I get disappointed when I don't achieve something because I'm no longer trying to bite off a big chunk. I'm enjoying moment by moment.
And yeah. So it's so interesting that it seems like there's a number of factors. You talk about really a community of persons supporting you, not a community like a village, but
Mhm.
individual people that form your own support tribe.
Yeah.
Um, the part about going to rehab is important, I think, because it sounds like, and I see Mary Benjamin is in the audience.
Oh,
Yeah,
Marie,
and all her
she's
work with
there.
yellows, right? She's saying greetings, Anthony and Franklin Peter Mose. She says she's so proud of
Oh,
you, love alone.
I oh,
Yeah. So
Mary and I, we but just permit me permission, please.
sure. Uh-huh.
Oh, Mary, back in Antigua, we've been good friends. Journey is almost similar. And we got to meet. I'm planning to come to Antigua, back to Antigua for December. So, Mary, most definitely we'll connect and see how we work together in cross purpose and network. Okay. God bless you, Mary. Thanks. And everybody else listening,
And everybody,
okay.
yeah. Well, I should have
Keep it
just mic'd
Spanish.
up.
Ya yo
Yeah.
sé, todos el mundo en español, y todo el mundo a creole, everybody in English. Hello, everyone in American, and is everyone all right in England? Oh, you think they're sleeping? Okay, definitely.
So I was saying that I highlight that in the importance of actually getting professional help, because you
Yes,
said something that you said you don't know what you don't know. So somebody who has been trained probably has a better idea of what you don't know and can help steer your path. And of course, you also spoke about your own personal resilience, um, to recognize where you need to avoid and what you need to avoid and who you need to avoid. Franklin, this is so super interesting. I have to take a quick break, to get a word from the sponsors. When we come back, we spend a little bit of time on talking about how you of the success that you enjoy and experiencing right now, and also what you involve with, because
Hmm.
you spoke about your work that you back in. I can see the joy in your face because you're getting to do what you were born to do.
Oh,
So
yes.
listeners, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Mr. Franklin Peter Moses and his incredible story. I think Franklin needs to be on some of the biggest stages, because what we're doing here is just scratching the surface. There's so many people who can benefit from this conversation that we're having here tonight. And Franklin, we're going to get this conversation and more conversations on the world stage, as we move along. So stay tuned. Let's get a quick word from the sponsors, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Presented by. Presented by.
People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
Running a radio station shouldn't be chaos. It should be simple, smart, and professional. With Joan Premium, your entire week schedule is beautifully organized and easy to manage. Real-time accuracy keeps your listeners in sync with every show. Your visitors and audience sees the right schedule every time, wherever they are. They can even choose different time zones. From analytics to social media and native app integration, Joan Premium is the professional tool your station deserves. You're never alone. We provide priority support for active license users. We're building a community. Connect with broadcasters worldwide through our Joan Community Hubs. Choose your plan, annual flexibility, or lifetime freedom. Get Joan Premium today. www.gndenterprisesinc.com or call 877-698-9894 for more information.
Looking to promote your business, engage current customers, and reach new people? Well, look no further. From the basic presentation to a fully fledged advertisement, use your video ads to attract customers. At Man's Audiovisual Productions, we do just that. We produce videos for business and event promotions, product demo videos, animated explainer videos, fundraiser ads, and much, much more. Engage your clients and sell online. We customize the video to match your brand design. Guaranteed to play flawless on all devices, including smart TVs. Contact us at telephone number 203-690-4342 or 767-245-6238. Visit our website mansaudiovisual.com or email us at derekvideo@gmail.com.
Welcome back, everyone. And I want to thank you for staying with us through the break. Tonight, my guest is Mr. Franklyn Peter Moses. Uh, you know, comedian extraordinaire. He's a master of ceremony. He's a radio announcer. He does advertisements, just everything public. A lot of his shows. Franklyn has been a staple on the stage in Dominica for years. And so I have him on here tonight because in this weekend interview, one of the things that we do is to hold up our people and what they have accomplished to up in the light so that you can see them and they can shine. But in addition to that, Franklyn, being a personality of himself, the month of October is mental Health Awareness Month. And actually on the 10th, I said Sunday, but it's not Sunday, the 10th is Friday, is Mental Health Awareness Day. Mental Health Day is this Friday. And there are two themes for this year's recognition of well mental awareness. One of them is turning awareness into action. Turning awareness into action. And when we spoke earlier, we spoke about the stigma that people tend to attach to mental health, which is so wrong because if someone breaks their leg, nobody holds it against them. And so we need to start recognizing um, less than perfect mental wellness as the illness that it is, and folks deserving of attention and care and medication and whatever it is, just like any other ailment in the body. It should not have a stigma attached to it. So let us turn that awareness into action. Franklyn also spoke about folks who were there for him during those quote unquote dark times. The second theme is, in every story there is strength. And I don't think that could be a more appropriate theme than the conversation that we're having right now with Franklyn. So Franklyn, in every story there is strength. And so, briefly, just tell us about you rising back up to where you could have that that awareness that would help you to stay in a state that have you functional right now, um, and getting you stronger and stronger day by day as we go along. Was there a particular turning point? Was there a particular event, or tell us about that part of it?
There is a when one begins to awaken in their consciousness, there is a time, there is a season, there's a period where uh, you become a kite. A kite never goes up with wind; it goes up against the wind. In other words, it must have some tension and some pressure, as if life itself was just one ordinary road with no bending and no turning. It would be a little boring. So I believe in our lives, based on the trajectory that we have, we see it as a speed bump.
Hmm.
So that speed bump will allow you to slow down. And if it's your time for consciousness, you slow down. You begin to evaluate your life. You take an inventory of your life. That's with you that state of mind, and you again I have to refer to the Bible because that is for me the foundational peg, the anchor of my life. Because I've seen most of this stuff that I've put into practice, they have come to pass, and that is the blueprint for absolute, total, complete, thorough executive success. But I'm not claiming to be religious, okay? But I guess it's because I don't know if it's my way of thinking. I have something called faith that okay, so this has happened to me the first 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I felt a little But then my disappointment and my sadness was God's way of breaking. I was being broken, gracefully broken. So I could be in a place now where I need a struggle. For me, nothing is missing, nothing is broken. I can account for my day. Um, I'm not running away from myself. I begin to accept that I'm still human, and I'm fallible. And so for me, it was for me a whole renewal of my mind, of my thinking. And I realized I would when I stayed hungry for 3 years in the street. I lived in the street. I live on the pavement. I live in the market. I live on the verandas. I live on the street. I had 15 friends of mine who were taking drugs with me. Died. Five of them.
Wow. 15.
15. And I'm
Wow.
walking down the road yesterday and I'm saying, oh, look, I forgot Mervyn. I forgot Mervyn. I forgot um, this guy in this guy at the psych unit. I've been at the psych unit and I went to Kai's funeral. But what is a 16-year? And that's why I'm an advocate for mental health in Dominica right now. What is a, he was 14 at the time when I'm a big man. And he's 14 at the psych unit. We became friends. I'm wondering, what is that young boy? Isn't this some form of redress? I know that I know I wasn't functioning as I supposed to, the capacity, because I knew that was a mental disorder, dysfunction. But this little boy, when I spoke to him, he was being bullied and getting the same medication that they were giving me as hardback.
Wow.
He eventually committed suicide. He was buried
Wow.
just 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
Then there was so many others. I've had one guy fed him the night before, next morning he passed. Then a guy came to check for some food, next he disappeared. He just disappeared. Nobody knows where he been to. And 15 of my friends. Oh, I'm looking for it. Just forgive me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Isidore, a friend of mine, Isidore, he brings me two biscuits and a bottle of water, a container for water, and goes to Maho and hangs himself. Um,
Wow.
so if I was not prepared for that, it could have a serious impact on my life. I'm doing a course right now at UE to understand counseling better because I don't want to create more harm, but because of the interfacing and relationship that I have with them. But I don't want to necessarily fall back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so now I must find a place so I can mentally defrag somebody I
Mhm.
can be accountable to. So that's why I have the staff here at the Q95
95.
and Matt Peltier and Mr. Greg and the rest of the staff who help me steer in the straight and narrow. It's I'm still not easy, but I'm happy that I have a few shows to do for the independents. I'm doing the Creole TV Large Creole. I'm doing the Creole Festival because that's the first MC for the Creole Festival 27 years ago. Though we only have 25 editions, we skipped one for Maria and one for Hurricane Maria and one for COVID. So the 25th anniversary, they've asked me to become the special guest. So I feel I've come full circle. I can retire now. With
some people that some people are not built to retire, and I suspect you're one of them.
yeah,
But
that's
but
I work for Macmillan is the only person who can retire. You can because he sells tires. You can go by Macmillan and retire.
and retire.
Yeah.
You church. But it's so wonderful to hear your generosity and your ability to take all of that lessons and all of that. It sounds almost like you were in a furnace being molded.
Oh, for
You know.
that word you just used there,
Yeah.
it was indeed. You know when you don't have what's something called food insecurity.
Hmm.
I was on the street during COVID. The Catholic Church came and they fed us, and I'm saying when I knew people that knew people.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
What about those who don't know people that don't have people?
Or nobody knows them. Yeah.
Oh, you're just another statistic, brother. I have become a Franklin Moses became a statistic. People, listen, I lost an eye. I don't see in this right eye
Oh
on the
wow.
street. I got busted here. I got my hand got broken there. The two guys who I lived with in the streets, basically one code convert just passed away again this last week. Then Heskip passed away the 6 months before. And I have just been baptized in watching people die. Stephanie, 5 girls died, and the rest, Mervyn Falls being afraid. And I'm like, for me, life, not that I became very serious about life, I just began to realize, what is life?
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to Ferdinand 1 day, 2 days. The third day she died. Ferdinand was my good friend Ferdinand Franklyn. And
Right.
many other folks. I'm like, that's it? That's it? So you just, you begin to ask yourself questions and you under asking God, but why me? And you hear God say, why not you?
Why not you? And then you're able to embrace that. You
And
embrace
then you're
that.
able, yeah, but oh, and what a point I wanted to say earlier on, you must come to a place of surrender. In the Bible, it says, when the prodigal son had come to his senses, the Bible also says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Everything is up here, most people, and that's why people say I'm crazy. I'm meditating and I'm hearing, the thoughts that you hear. Do you know? And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to ask you a question, everybody. Do you know that you're always talking to yourself?
Always.
Your brain never stops, even when you go to bed, but you're not paying attention to those thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I do, I dislocate and I relocate my thoughts. So if I decide, okay, I'm going down, and people say, Franklin Moses, I heard you, but I chose to preserve my thoughts now by just putting up my hand to acknowledge you, but I'm not going to break my train of thought because I'm seeing a commercial. I'm seeing the words drop like rain, dew drops fall. I can see today this yellow car from so and so is going to drive down King George V Street. There's going to be joy in her eyes and laughter everywhere, echoing along the alleys along. Listen, I'm hearing this and I'm rehearsing that, and you're calling me. The one it is maybe simple.
You cannot break that trend of thought just to say hello.
You know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm in some place and I'm in Antigua with Ewart Burton and the Minister of the Attorney General of Antigua and some other ministers. And we were having a couple of beers in a place called Heritage Hotel. And I said, everybody, hush, 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 hush. Because I heard a commercial. That's the one I did for First Domestic. I'm going to do it again for Shillingford, I think, or Church. And I heard, can I have the ring, please? And I stopped everybody. They were like, you all didn't hear that? They said, no. You all didn't hear what I just said? And I heard the commercial says, can I have the ring, please? And the ring, please, is a wedding. Do you promise to take so and so to be your lawfully wedded? Yes. Do you promise to provide protection? Yes. Do you provide to accept protection? Yes. I do. I will. Yes. Can I have the ring, please? So in case that you think it's a ring with a finger, the phone rings. And I'm like, when I explain it to them, I must have drunk a whole carton of beers because they say, you really crazy. We're talking about some politics.
You somewhere completely different
Yeah.
place.
So
Some of us vibrate different, Franklin. I
different
can
because
tell
I
you
could
that.
be in the middle of a storm. I have a place called there. There's a place I've meant, and if there's anything I want to teach you while you're learning, while you're alive, begin to learn to breathe again. It's the depth of your breath that brings you the breath of your life. Breathe. I don't know where I learned it from Steinberg because I work in media.
Hmm.
Bring it in. 4. Hold 4. Release 8 until everything goes. So you breathe. You can breathe the first 4 reps if your mouth through your nose and out of your nose, and the last 4 reps in your nose and out of your mouth. And you
Yeah.
see yourself getting dark, where you're because there's too much light in the pineal gland. It has to become dark. It has to become so then when it becomes really, really dark, you see an explosion of light, and you can begin to see panoramic views of what you want in life. You see that day. Say, okay, all right. So I know what clothes I'm going to wear tomorrow, or what I have a substitute clothes tomorrow, and then you begin to slow down your life. Because if the Bible says in Psalm 90, is it 90? Yeah, third score and 10. I passed through score, my brother. So which get it? I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
More than
At
yeah.
least you remain in 10, right? Sharon is saying
Sorry.
she thought it was normal. In other words, she's saying that she thinks that everybody has conversations in their head. She calls it soliloquy.
Oh yes, soliloquy.
Soliloquy. She said she
Yes.
thought soliloquy is normal. So, like I said, there are some people who vibrate different. Or
Mhm.
maybe all of us can, but some of us never recognize that we have that ability.
Yeah, or we take it for granted because you just think, well, how come you don't know that?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. Because we're so busy paying attention to every thought that we don't
Mm,
have the opportunity to hold a thought in for long enough.
mm,
Um, It's interesting what you said about breath, because the breath that you describe is really when you have a prolonged exhal, exhalation, you slow down your heartbeat, and you remove carbon dioxide from your system, so it helps. Judith Francis, one of my classmates from grammar school, hey, Judith, what's up? He said, Mr. Moses, I admire your strength, your courage, and your resilience. We all do. We all do.
Thank you very
Franklin,
much. Mhm.
we're coming to the end of the hour. It flew by, right?
Yeah.
I want you to do two things. Tell us a little bit of what you have going on, and tell the people who need your services where they can find you, to engage you, to produce work for them, to MC a show, MC a wedding, MC a concert, whatever it is. Just talk about what's going on right now, and let them know that that you're available and ready to serve.
Actually, I have a movie deal with the Columbia Pictures. I'm doing this one with. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Speak it, my brother. Speak it into existence. Yeah,
It's taken into existence. It's called manifestation. You know,
definitely.
uh, no, it's interesting because when I got the job here, is I had been out of practice. My last job was actually no, I was out. I was my last job was in New York, and
Hmm.
radio station there. So I hadn't worked on the radio. I was tired, busted, disgusted, disappointed.
Hmm.
You lose a little focus, but God was just breaking up all the edges of my. Maybe sometimes you think I didn't think of myself as a person prideful until I was walking without shoes, and then I had to realize people are watching you, Franklin Moses, but I don't have a shoe. So I'm talking to myself, but you don't have a
Hmm.
shoe. Are you going to violate that? Listen, bro. Listen what the Bible says. Oh, no, the Bible didn't say that. They're talking to yourself. But you walk down to earth. If anybody asks you why you don't have shoes, just say, man, I like to be down to earth. So I would talk to myself and preserve myself. And I had no food. I say, should I ask this person to? So what I learned is that I still survived. God provided when there was no water. Even during COVID, remember the time there's COVID and COVID we were closed down for about a month, and I was living on the by the arch, and I'm walking. I'm God. I'm still serving you. Even they say I'm crazy, but I'm hungry, and I get to stop and shop, and a man opens the gate opposite Mapao and says, "Hey, want something to eat now?" And what I had, he gave me corned beef and a breadfruit. And that's all I had for 2 days, and I'm like, God, you hurt me. So even there, I had a lot of folks. God bless you guys. Some people were just going out of their way to make sure. Have even sugar, clothes, and shoes, and in things of that sort. So that God is going to multiply, and people would because then if there's anything else I have to say, mm, the universe will allow you to go through something so that you will be able to help others. So don't think because your setback may be your setup for your comeback. And
Say
that
that again. Y-
your setback
Uh-huh.
may be your setup
Uh-huh.
for your comeback.
For your comeback.
Yes, your setback is your setup for your comeback. And
Right.
so God will put you on a detour. Because you see, in life, if you knew destination A to C, you would avoid B. But because you have natural intelligence that you have, God want to awaken inside of you, He will allow you to go through something to let you understand that there is a B before you get to C. So stop rushing to go to C. And then when you get to the connection between A and B, because you always wanted to get from A to C, and that's your adolescent years, and that's your teenage years, and that's your 20s and your 30s. When you get to some people mature at different levels, there are big people who are still children, and children who are big people. However, when you get to a certain place of settlement, there's a place called there. The place called there is a place that you go to. So, for instance, if I have depressive thoughts, like I'm talking like a real person, I don't hide nothing. You have depressive thoughts. I've never had to. I did come across, but I'm like push that away. Life is
Hmm.
sweet.
Hmm.
But you have these thoughts, and so I gave my thoughts a name. So when the thoughts come in, like maybe you want to get high, maybe you want to go and take a vibe, maybe you want to. Maybe you should stay and finish writing your book. Maybe you should stay. So there's a conversation going on, dichotomy of thought happening in my head. I say, Kevin. Why Kevin? Kevin is a young boy in Home Alone. He was innocent, but he was still mischievous. So my thoughts when they come in, I say, Kevin, be careful. Something negative, I say, Kevin, behave. Or if it's something encouraging, I would say, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, Kevin. So if you see me talking to myself, is when I answer myself, call doctor for me. But if you say talking,
If you're talking to Kevin, you're okay.
yeah, if you say talking, I'm having a board meeting. Okay, I'm having a board meeting. So you have people have to find the way. If it's to find a psychiatrist, find a counselor, find the multitude of counsel there is
Don't
safe
be
to
afraid to
find
reach
a
out for
good
help.
tech.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid and don't because bro, I'm wishing that there would be a hotline in Dominica whereby people at any hour of the day, night, or time can call, and somebody at the other end, they'll be confident, somebody, another voice. Sometimes some people, all we want is, we don't want you to give us your advice or your counsel. We just want listening,
Hmm.
a listening ear. Somebody that say, listen, when I was in children, was saying, someone says, we love you, and that word, when it hits the right spot at the right time, you're like, oh, there's hope,
Hmm.
or,
Hmm.
and so I'm encouraging people. It could be your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your husband, your friend. If find out a way. I wish the Ministry of Health would put out a pamphlet, certain things to look for. If the person is talking plenty, not sleeping enough, the person is not, it used to be camp, the person is on camp, the person is laughing too much, the person, so if as find a way.
Changes in behavior.
Yeah, because you don't know what anybody's going through. I've been
Right.
reading up something on the internet. Some of the happiest people are the people who end up went postal because you
Hmm.
do not know what anybody is going through at any point in their life, time in their life. So I sympathize with people, especially women who go through depression. The men will act out. I mean, there's some women who have acted through a postpartum, bipolar, and schizophrenia, and Dr. Wallace and these other folks at the psych unit in Dominica, they do an excellent job. Dr. Wallace was also instrumental in helping save my life.
All right. Franklin, you still didn't tell folks how they can reach you if
Oh
they have
yes,
work for you.
Pupagado. Okay, I speak like a person from Wesley there, Pupagado or Antigua. Okay, so I'm here at Q95. My telephone number basically I can tell you is seven.
Let me put it in the chat
Yeah,
so folks can see.
as
Tell
the
me
easier way. Yeah,
767.
767. This is original Bonafide Dominica, and it's 315 7275. That's my only number for now because I have two numbers, but this was the most functional at this
This is
point
a
in time.
business one.
Yes, and it's also at Q95, um, Q95 radio,
And
and
if they call Q95 radio,
oh
they
yeah,
call Matt or wherever they
from
can find
anybody
you.
but anybody here. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. I do advertising. I write my scripts, do my production right here in the studio where I'm at. This is my office here,
All right.
and yeah, I do shows. You can if you can't get me, you can get Matt Petty, and
Yeah.
he's basically my manager. And so for the independents, they've asked me to do the Creole Festival, and I'm doing the TV Village Creole and the Creole in the Street for the NDFD, and I'm still doing the counseling course at the U week ends in December, so it looks like. And then my birthdays, I'll be I won't tell you how much.
When is the birthday? In December?
December 13, yes,
December 13th.
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Franklin, I'm so happy and I'm honored to have had you on this program. I think this is one of the more powerful conversations I've had
Oh, okay.
because there's so many families who are experiencing people who are not mentally well. Their well-being, their mental well-being is being
The
challenged,
mentally
and
challenged, yes.
yeah, and their folks have a hard time dealing with it because if it's a broken arm, you can see it, you can massage it, you can touch it. If it's
Hmm.
mental, people get scared
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they feel a little bit helpless. Feel a little bit
yeah.
helpless, but
And
there's
then
hope.
yes,
There's
and
so there. I guess the story, the message really is: do not give up on your loved ones. If
mhm.
Franklin come to your mind, call Franklin. Say, hey, Franklin, what's going on, man? You just come to my mind. Tell me a joke, make me laugh, or I tell him a story, something, whatever. Just if your loved one crosses your mind, call them and let them know that you thought of them and you love them. So Franklin, parting remarks.
Yeah, just want to thank you to both sides of the fence. Those who strengthen me by doing negative things and saying negative things, and those who really reinforce my hope in myself and in humanity by you selflessly giving your kind words and your financial assistance, your clothes and everything. It means, and will continue to mean a lot to me. Individually, I'm unable to call every individual name personally. However, personally, to every individual, for your prayers, for your well wishes, for your kind words, for your laughter, for your joy, for your talk, for your encouragement, for your enlightenment, I say, just from my very existence, I say thank you. I say thank you very much.
And Franklyn, speaking on their behalf, they're saying you're very welcome, and your continued perseverance is all the thanks that they need.
I
So,
try one day at a time.
one day at a time. So, my brother, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing you in action in some of the shows. I catch you sometimes on Q95, and
Yes.
and you're just as good, if not better,
Well,
than we remember.
I used to be a Malou. I'm now a Jack Daniel. I'm just kidding.
Properly cured, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that makes it stronger and more powerful and more
Yeah.
impactful.
Listen, which you said New York? Which part of New York are
I'm
you
in
at?
Brooklyn. It's Flatbush.
Flatbush, yeah. You
Yeah,
from
right. I'm right
West
on the
Valley?
corner of Church
Uh,
Avenue and Kings Highway.
Exactly. Well, you must know my house. On our house, Alvin Badwell, they call him Alvin. Um, my schoolmate.
Okay.
Same Flatbush.
It's
Yeah.
Flatbush. Okay.
Mhm. I said, you know, my
All
good friend.
right.
My
So
brother, it was for me. Not uh, time ran so quickly. I
yeah,
have a few notes that I still haven't touched on. That's one of the few
but
notes.
if you have a few things if there's a couple of things that you really wanted to say
Mm,
that you didn't
mm,
get a chance,
Just,
go ahead.
just basically is to bring people's awareness, and because if it doesn't hit home, there are a number of people suffering, and it doesn't mean that they're mentally challenged or they're mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
People get depressed. People snap. I've had a number of friends, and right now that's the reason why I want to be a little more certified, because all kinds of folks who call me. I, I'm my brother. I have a lady who is in Vermont in the United States of America, and every Monday I have to have a session with her. When we met in Dominica, she's like a degree, big position, big name, big $100,000 salary, and in Dominica, and every Monday I have to have a session with her. And she says, "Do you want to go to the first 15 minutes? And you want me to?" I say, "No, it's okay. You can go." And we talk, and she's crying, and I'm like, "Okay, but I thought America could deal with that." So I begin to go, the nature begin to fit me in like a
Mm-hmm.
nice jigsaw puzzle. But then and I have to find my what is called the support system. So I'm suggesting to people that you have to find the support system, because when you don't have to go through what I go through to learn to let go things.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
things you
Mm-hmm.
have no control over, and that is because if I've learned, I had a very unmanageable life before. Now I'm trying to manage it by managing my time,
Imagine.
because
Yeah.
that's how precious time is now in this new dispensation. So, but your mind, you want to have a joyful life. So one of the things I want to advise you to do, even if you cannot read and write or whatever it is, if you can write down certain nice things that you have done about yourself, things you
Mm-hmm.
have achieved, things you want to achieve, just the nice things. You can do the negative things that you don't like about yourself, whatever. Take an inventory of yourself, but say nice things
Nice things
about
about
yourself.
yourself. That's right. That's
And
right.
then write it, and then go back and read it every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Visit and heal thyself. So sometimes I was giving, 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 and not getting, getting, getting. I realized, well, you will not get, because in life, and how much you give is not the same equivalent that you're going to get back in. That's the reality of life. So now start to give yourself. Watch yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, "I look like James Bond." No, I'm just kidding. He looked like Denzel Washington. But, no, but say nice things to yourself. Begin to love yourself
Begin to love yourself.
from inside here and
Mm-hmm.
with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So
If you can develop that, you don't need, in times when there's nobody
yeah,
telling you that they
yeah,
love you. At least one person loves you, and that's you.
yeah, and have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And that relationship, I'm not asking you to go and buy a rosary or anything like that. the kingdom of God is inside of you,
Hmm.
not outside of you. So
Right.
you rearrange your thoughts, your breathing, your thoughts, your eating, your sleeping, and the valuable things, the sunlight, the water, the exercise, little things like that, little
So,
things like that.
so Franklin, you said you came out of the hospital in January. What date? Do you know what
29,
date? January 29th. So is that a
29.
date? Is that a date you're going to celebrate, or is that a date you're going to
Not
forget?
really, because interestingly, I was already working all the time from November.
Hmm.
So
You just putting the polishing on you.
that is why there's certain people in my life who have impacted my life to such a seismic events. But Matt Peltier, while I was at the hospital, he went and negotiated with Dr. Wallace so that he would come pick me up before he comes to work at Q, pick me up at 7:30, bring me here. I come to the studio, here where I am, make commercials, and he builds and does everything else. And it wasn't he carried me literally on the shoulder for the transition, the bridge between then and now.
No.
And I'm asking myself maybe first and first the prayers of others and him. So I'm saying to you that maybe one day you listening to me, I will point which one I point there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you, yes, you
Right.
may be the lifeline for somebody else.
Somebody else.
You maybe you have become the lifeline already. But if you learn anything from my story, if you cannot, how do I say? I want to say it in a nice way. Not everybody is your assignment, but whoever is your assignment, God has assigned you a good assignment. Make the best of it.
Awesome. So we'll leave it right there. Mary says that she need to have a free at last party with you. So, um, you know,
And Mary.
reach out to Mary. But Franklin, thank you so much.
Yeah, tell Mary she have my number.
She's
So we-
hearing you, and the
okay,
number is in the chat. So
okay,
Mary
all
Franklin is
right.
expecting you to call, take you up on your offer.
I'm
But
so proud of
that
me. Mhm.
I really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy.
And thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your gift with us.
Thank
And
you.
we wish you continued blessings selfishly so that you can continue to share those blessings with us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it. Mr.
I really
Jago, Mr.
appreciate
Jago. Yeah, I went to Castaway for the first time in a long time the other day. Matt brought me there. Nice. I got fish. No sense of it.
Centerville. Same Cassius Centerville. My go Cassius, remember.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Thank
my
you.
brother.
Yes, thank you everybody for your patronage and for your presence. And let's hope that it was that's rewarding
I'm
for
sure it was
you.
it was
Thank you very much.
blessing,
Good night.
a blessing and really touching. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Good
Mhm.
night, everybody. Bye bye.
So folks, there you have it. Month of October, Mental Health Awareness Month. Uh, let's be kind enough to pay attention to the loved ones who are surrounding us, our family, our friends, our co-workers, a stranger on the street. Let us be kind enough. Yeah, let's not just walk blind. Um, so that you can recognize, if necessary, someone who needs you to just touch them, just talk to them, say hello. And also, if you're going through that right now, take inspiration that there's light at the end of the tunnel. As dark as it may seem right now, you can climb out of it. Be patient with yourself. Be very patient with your loved ones, and just understand that the hope and praise. Franklin got an anchor. Obvious his anchor is the Bible. He must have quoted 5 Psalms for us, um, in this 1 hour time. And so every story, what was the theme they said? In every story there is strength. So take what you're going in through right now and cast your mind to a time when you will be out of this, you'll be better, even if you cannot see the path. It's not necessary to see the path. Just focus your mind on when you're out of that, right? And who are we to ignore it, and people suffering? We should not suffer with them, not sympathize with them, as Franklin said, but we can empathize with them. So Friday is Mental Health Awareness Month. Take some time, reflect on that. If you know someone who's struggling with depression or otherwise, reach out to them, let them know that you're there for them. We recognize angels like Mary, Benjamin, and Matt Peltier, and all the other people who quietly are there for the folks in their lives who are going through mental issues. So, folks, this is where we will leave it. We thank the heavens for Franklin and his continued um, resilience, and of course he seems to be in a place where he is managing his own mental wellness, and we are very, very thankful for that. And I want to say good night, but thank you to the team, the This Week in Interview team, Sam and Ella, for putting this together. This is one of my more profound conversations on this program. And as I told you, as I always say, I feel so blessed to be in this position because I get to have conversations like this that I would maybe not normally have in my everyday life, working in my day job. So this means a lot to me. I see Maggie's on, yeah, late Maggie, food for thought. Yeah, we know, you know. Um, feel this program is very personal. Um, Sharon, who else didn't I mention today? Sina, Super was on. Um, folks, there Risa HD, my sister. Good night to you. I think we covered everybody. Judith, Sina, I said Sina already. Yeah, Clayton. Thank you guys for participating. Give us a like, subscribe, and let's do this again next week, Wednesday, for another episode of This Week in Interview. Have a wonderful remainder of the week, and of course, enjoy the weekend, and see you next Wednesday. Good night.
Thank you.